Space, a seemingly infinite expanse of stars, nebulae, and black holes. But the question is, how did the stars get there? This is a nebula, a collection of gas and dust several light years across. This is where our journey begins. Within a nebula, either due to a large object drawing enough gas into a single area, or just by pure chance, something can form. If enough gas collects into a single mass, this can form a protostar. This is a gas giant like Jupiter or Saturn, only much, much, much bigger, though it still has a long way to go. After a while, and with enough extra mass, the sheer pressure and heat is enough to rip the electrons off the hydrogen atoms and strike the remaining protons together with enough force that they fuse together to form helium in a process called nuclear fusion. This process releases huge amounts of light and energy. In a blinding flash, the mass of gas becomes a star, its nuclear core burning bright. This one, like our Sun, is a fairly medium-sized star, meaning it shares the same fate. This is the same star, many billions of years later. It may seem fine, but it's running low on the hydrogen it uses as fuel. It begins to collapse in on itself. This is not the end, yet. The added pressure of it collapsing causes it once again to undergo nuclear fusion. This time it combines much more. It combines helium into beryllium, lithium, even up to carbon. This causes it to swell many hundreds of times its original size and turns a dim red colour. It stays this way for about 1 billion more years. After this, its fuel is running out again, this time for real. This will make it collapse once more, expelling 80% of its remaining mass out around it. What is left is a white dwarf. This star, about 20% the size it was when it first became a star, will continue to leach out its remaining heat and light, all the fuel now gone, very slowly for the next few 100 billion years. This is the beginning of the end. This already dim star will continue to dim for the rest of its life. From there, it will become a lifeless clump, the remains of a star, now, forever, fully dead and dark. Though not all stars share that fate. This is a massive star. It is many times larger than both our Sun and the star before. Just like the previous star, it is nearing its death. Once it runs out of the fuel it uses in nuclear fusion, it also begins to collapse under its own mass. When this occurs, the pressure and heat is much greater than the previous star. The force allows much heavier elements to be fused, oxygen, silicon, and even iron. The force of this happening also causes this star to swell, but much more violently. The star swells with such force that it rips itself apart and explodes. This explosion is the most spectacular event in the universe, and can be seen from millions of light years away. This explosion fuses even more elements together, forming most everything else. What is left after this is a cloud of gas, dust, and most everything else. At the center of it all can be either one of two things. Number one is a neutron star. A neutron star is, well, made of a mass of neutrons, usually about 10 miles in diameter. The star spins almost once a second and is incredibly dense and bright for its size. So dense, in fact, that it is the densest known object. It has a gravity 300,000 times greater than Earth. The second thing that could happen is a black hole. This object has such strong gravity that not even light can escape. It can even distort space and time around it. The only reason we know it exists is its ability to distort light around it. It, along with the rest of its kin, are set to be the only things that remain in the end.